Good evening. Welcome to Thursday, April 10th, Board of Ed meeting. Roll call.
Chairman Paternoster.
Here.
Vice Chair Anafrio.
Here.
Secretary O'Rourke.
Here.
Ed Cordino. Philip Dalmeyer.
Here.
David McMahon.
Here.
Deborah Prunier.
Here.
Salute to the flag. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Visitors comments limited to the agenda. Anyone like to speak? Student representative.
Hi guys. Hi. So to start off, the NBHS Drama Club presented their spring musical Oliver this past Friday, April 4th and Saturday, April 5th. The students really did an amazing job. I went on Saturday, and with the help of Mrs. Genzano, we directed the play. And we really just want to make note that the production really was a true team effort, and Mr. D'Annunzio designed all the sets, and his construction classes helped construct them. And the NBHS Art Club also helped in painting the sets and the backdrops, and that was under direction of Mrs. Kaplan. So that was really a huge success. Also, 2 weeks ago, on Thursday, March 27th, the NBHS National Honor Society hosted the annual spring Senior Citizen Luncheon. Mrs. Lanzotti's food service classes prepared lunch for the seniors, and the NBHS concert choir, led by Mr. Carnaroli, put on a quick show to close out the day. And from what I can tell, everyone really seemed to have a good time and enjoy themselves. So it was fun. And lastly, the National Honor Society also held a service week last week from March 31st through April 4th. The week started off with School Spirit Day, where us members decorated the cafeteria with banners and streamers, and just to show some school spirit. And we also asked the students of the school to wear purple as well. On Tuesday, we held an after-school tutoring session, which had a fantastic turnout, actually. A lot of people came, and that was really helpful. Wednesday and Thursday were devoted to helping out teachers during our study halls, and we also cleaned up the courtyard and cleaned up the student parking lot. And finally, on Friday, we held an advisory session, which we talked to juniors to advise them about their senior year, about applying to colleges and stuff like that. So that was successful as well.
Throughout the month of April, juniors at the high school are participating in the SBAC field testing, and they are scheduled for normal class time, and grade 9, 10, and 12 students just go to their regular classes. 3 students at the high school who are participating in the unified sports are going to be honored at the statewide banquet this spring, and junior Chris Krulik, who's actually here right now, was the winner of the nationwide writing competition. He wrote his essay about his experience participating in unified sports and with the athletes, which is actually pretty wicked awesome. And lastly, the high school student council sponsored Big Give Challenge. Took place over the past 12 weeks, and it was super successful. We raised a lot of money. Our total was $11,231. And this year's Big Give was organized by Stephanie Bird and Jessica Barbado, and it was a huge success. And our reception was this past Tuesday, the 8th, where students and their families came to the cafe at the high school and basically, just kind of celebrate a good time. It was good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What things going on?
You guys want to go and do homework, or you want to stay and watch us? Whatever you would like.
I'm going to chill for a little bit because I'm already
You could chill. Enjoy your chill.
Very descriptive words.
Yeah, I've learned something, chill. Nobody chills to see. Approval of previous minutes. March 20th, 2014.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of March 20th, 2014 Board of Education minutes as submitted.
Second. Any discussion? Any corrections? Anything?
What's good, Mary?
As always, Mayor, you do a great job. Any questions or anything? Yeah.
No, thanks.
Roll call, please.
Chairman Paternoster.
Yes.
Vice Chair Anafrio.
Yes.
Secretary O'Rourke.
Yes.
You sure?
No. What?
Question. Called right out.
Because as I was reading it, you were asking, but I definitely didn't move to approve the minutes from last meeting. And I know that only because I'm scared to do that, so.
I don't know if you ever say that.
I'll make a note of it, check it, if not, I'll amend it.
Okay. I know.
Philip Delmeyer,
Yes.
David McMahon,
Yes.
Deborah Prunier.
Yes.
Okay, next time, fine. Personnel resignations. The superintendent has received a retirement resignation from Ms. Marion O'Shea, cafeteria manager at Jerome Harrison Elementary School. Ms. O'Shea will retire at the end of the 2013-14 school year after 30 years plus of dedicated service. Wow.
I wish her well.
Yeah.
30 years of serving kids.
Jeez. The superintendent has received a resignation from Ms. Cheryl Flanagan, mathematics teacher at North Branford Intermediate School, effective April 11th, 2014. Ms. Flanagan has been employed by the North Branford Public Schools for 16 years.
I'll make a motion to approve the resignation of Ms. Cheryl Flanagan, mathematics teacher at North Branford Intermediate School, effective April 11th, 2014.
Second.
Any discussion, please? You good? Okay, roll call.
Chairman Paternoster,
Yes.
Vice Chair Anafrio.
Yes.
Secretary O'Rourke,
Yes.
Philip Delmeyer,
Yes.
David McMahon,
Yes.
Deborah Prunier.
Yes.
The superintendent has received a resignation from Dr. Mark Fabrizi, English teacher at North Branford High School, effective June 30th, 2014. Mr. Fabrizi has been employed by North Branford Public Schools for 18 years.
I'll make a motion to approve the resignation of Dr. Mark Fabrizi, English teacher at North Branford High School, effective June 30th, 2014.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Chairman Paternoster,
Yes.
Vice Chair Anafrio,
Yes.
Secretary O'Rourke,
Yes.
Philip Delmeyer,
Yes.
David McMahon,
Yes.
Deborah Prunier.
Yes.
I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda to approve the resignation of Ms. Francesca Bickle, special education teacher at North Branford High School, effective at the end of the 2013-2014 school year.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Chairman Paternoster,
Yes.
Vice Chair Anafrio,
Yes.
Secretary O'Rourke,
Yes.
Philip Delmeyer,
Yes.
David McMahon,
Yes.
Deborah Prunier.
Yes.
Appointments.
Before we move on, I would like to publicly thank and recognize, excuse me, Ms. Marion O'Shea for her dedicated service of 30 years. In the 5 years I've been employed at North Branford, I've witnessed her professionalism and the way she goes about the way for the quad to go by. We can't catch those quads, can we? Her professionalism and the way that she's conducted herself each and every day with our youngsters at Jerome, we surely will miss her, and she's done a remarkable job. I'd also like to wish Ms. Flanagan the best. She is relocating to Georgia with her family. She has family in Georgia, and I just want to wish her great success in her pursuits with her family and best wishes. And Dr. Mark Fabrizi, Dr. Fabrizi was on leave this past year. He was employed by Eastern Connecticut State University, and they offered him a full-time professor position there, and he will stay on at Eastern Connecticut, which is a tribute to him and how fortunate we were to have him as part of our staff for 18 years. He certainly brought a great deal to our English department, and we wish Mr. Dr. Fabrizi the best to him and his family as well. And we have another connection with Eastern, which is thank you.
The Miss O'Shea thing doesn't have anything to do with the fact that she fed you as well, right?
That is a strong connection that we have, yes.
All right, moving on to appointments. The superintendent has received recommendations for spring coaching positions for the 2013-14 school year at North Branford High School.
They are listed under Exhibit B.
I just had a quick question. Were we not able to fill the boys' assistant track coach, or we just didn't need to do the numbers? So says no coach.
I think at this time they do have a person that has been assigned to that position.
And I was in the process of getting the certification piece. So
He's a middle school paraprofessional that's worked with us before, this past year. And I cannot recall his name right now.
It's okay. I just didn't know if we didn't have the numbers or we weren't able to find a coach.
That was, I believe, within the last 2 weeks.
I'll make a motion to approve the spring coaching positions at the North Branford High School for the 2013-2014 school year submitted.
Second.
any discussion?
I have a quick question. Why are, I know we're approving coaches, but why are we approving a volunteer?
The volunteer spends considerable time. They go through similar training and listed that as a
They're just
courtesy
unpaid.
to recognize this young lady. She's a graduate of North Branford.
Roll call, please.
Chairman Paternoster.
Yes.
Vice Chair Anafrio.
Yes.
Secretary O'Rourke.
Yes.
Philip Dalmeyer.
Yes.
David McMahon.
Yes.
Deborah Prunier.
Yes.
Leaves, none at this time. Now we move on to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Paternoster. Excuse me. As was mentioned, I'm thrilled this evening to have our co-chairs, faculty members Stephanie Bird and Jess Barbado here representing the Big Give. Over the past several years, they have donated over $38,000 to charitable causes, which is an exceptional accomplishment for a smaller high school, a little bit of 600 plus students, and the ability this year to have 50 students involved on their time, donating their time to help others. That certainly speaks volumes to what, and I always point to our strategic plan and our mission of building that respect factor and helping others and giving back. So I want to have the co-sponsors please come forward and shake the walk of fame, shake hands with our board. If Jess would please come forward, and Stephanie. And then I'm going to have you remain in the front here. I'm going to recognize our students that are here. As always, thank you. Would either of you like to just speak a little bit to the board about how this came about? Or if not, I can continue on. You're both walking away from me.
But singing it way fast.
Stephanie Bird actually started this the last 2 times. This is my first time co-coordinating with her. And the idea came from, if you gave each group of students $1, how much can they make that dollar grow? And we have found that they have made it grow an awful lot. And I am absolutely proud of these students and how much work they put in, how much time. This year we raised money for 20 different charities, and there were about 50 students that participated, both in student council as well as a few students not in student council.
That's wonderful.
And we have some representatives of those exceptional students here tonight. So when I call your name, please come forward and shake hands with the board. And if we have our camera crew is here tonight, can we get the group picture here? Okay, Chris Kruick, our Vice President of Student Council and a Matt's Mission team member. Thank you. Nancy Bush, Treasurer of Student Council and also a Matt's Mission member. Stay right up front and we'll do the action. Bryce Mace, Secretary of Student Council and Matt's Mission team member. Maggie Brigatti and Nicole Romanella of Matt's Mission team and held numerous events throughout this year's Big Give. They also raised money for Matt's Mission during the 2012 Big Give. Thank you so much. Allie Zampano, member of ID Loving Team, who raised money for Positive Pocket, a nonprofit organization that educates students on how they can control their self-esteem, self-confidence, and influences them on the importance of standing up for themselves and others. This team was the top fundraising team on this year's Big Gig, and they raised $1,360.
Wow.
Nice job. Austin, okay, Austin, help me out. Jalisco, close? Well, what is it? Jalisco, I'm sorry. The only one-person team in this year's Big Give who was in the top 4 fundraising teams, he raised, wow, this is incredible, $825 for the Branford Compassion Club Feline Rescue. So a one-person team that raised over $800. Congratulations. Can we have a round of applause? Do you want to hold your water ones or no? No?
Hands in front or behind?
I'll go in the car. Push it. What do you say?
Hands in front.
I got us all? Thank you, sir. Thank you, guys. Now you. Thanks, guys. See you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. The North Branford Food Bank, we have Ms. Sherry Ardeen here this evening representing the food bank. Our central office, with a generous donation of Dadco Bus Company, coordinated a bus trip to New York City on January 25th. Employees were offered a day on their own in New York for $12 per person for the ride down and back, with the understanding that the fee was a donation to the North Branford Food Bank. I'd like to present a donation in the amount of $480 to the North Branford Food Bank, and Ms. Ardeen is here to receive that this evening. And I'd like to obviously recognize DACO Bus, who has had incredible service with the town of North Branford for many years, and they have continued to support our fundraising efforts and make donations of travel to us each year. So thank you so much to DACO. Sherry, we're going to hold the check here. Where's my photo? Wow. This is just stuff over the guys.
Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you. Okay, moving right along. Under communications, the board briefs are attached. If you have any questions, administrators are here this evening. They've been quite busy. I'm obviously not going to read through 4 pages, but they continue to stretch our youngsters each and every day to get them involved. We have another big event, I know, tomorrow at Tucket. We have the Eco Fair, which will be another fun-filled, crazy day. Obviously, the high school just came off of their senior luncheon, which was a great success. They really enjoyed coming and observing and having our students wait on that and listen to the select chorus and jazz ensemble. So a lot of wonderful things happening. Our little guys at Jerome are packing up items, non-perishable items to send over to our troops, and Mr. Mancini's office is filled to the brim with donations that are going. So at this time, if there's any questions.
I heard the invention convention was amazing.
The kids did a great job, so creative each and every year, how they come up with these ideas. And some of the most simplistic ones are the most fascinating.
Did somebody actually bring a toilet in?
Yes.
Somebody fell off it, too, during a demonstration.
Great.
There's no body butt here. We're gonna move along. Center of Education, the Ed Center for the Arts, through our ACES, that attached, which is under Exhibit D. It speaks to our involvement with the ACES ECA program, as you are aware. We fund students each year to participate in the program through the arts, and we've had great success. And each year I go and attend a small gathering with their staff, and our students are there to watch them demonstrate some of the things that they're doing in their classes, and it truly is amazing what they are doing. We could not replicate the level of expertise what they're doing over there, and the kids absolutely love it. So thank you for continuing to support that program. It is money well spent.
Scott, so the students that go to ECA, they try out, correct?
There's some audition. We only have, we've actually, I think we have 2 students there now. Downtown, only 2. In the past, we've had upwards of 4 students.
Okay.
And, but it's a commitment. You spend half of your day in North Branford, and then you travel over on a bus to New Haven to the program, and then you're required to get your own transportation back. So, you know,
It's a longer day.
It's a long day.
It's a longer day.
You don't have until after 5.
Yeah.
you really have to have a passion for what you're
Sure.
focused on there. But it's exceptional. This next item is exciting on the field trips. It's Exhibit E. I have Ms. Heidi Oscar-Miller here this evening from our English department. She has co-chaired numerous trips abroad and has had an incredible experience with our students over the years. It's a life-changing opportunity for our students. I want to commend the board. I'm probably putting cart before the horse, but for continuing to support their efforts and the efforts of the language department. Many times they travel the language department with the English department and give up a week of their time to go and spend it with our students away from their families. And again, so Ms. Osmore is here. She has a poster to share. And if you want to just talk about the trip, what the venue is for the trip.
Sure. It's to England and to France, and it's actually the trip that we did last year as well. And it was such a good trip. The beaches of Normandy are just absolutely amazing. And one of the things is you may have seen, excuse me, Saving Private Ryan. That's one experience of that period of history. But to be there, actually to be on the cliffs where all the soldiers came in is just an absolutely mind-blowing experience. It's really history coming alive for the kids. And our history teacher, Sharon DeGennaro, came to me this year and said, would you do that trip again? It was so incredible. So Stephanie Cangiano, unfortunately, Ms. DeGennaro can't come with us because we're hoping to do it in April over April break. But Stephanie Cangiano, another history teacher, is teaming with me to do it. So you get the sort of British lit experience in England, and then you get the amazing Normandy beaches. There was a moment where Mrs. Potter came with us, Mr. Potter's wife, last year, Kizipara. You're in the museum that they have for the soldiers and all, and it's a museum in the round, and they're showing footage, and the adults, sorry, we just all had tears streaming down our faces because it was so incredibly moving. And the students sort of stood and watched the clips and looked at us and said, are you okay? And we said, this is just absolutely incredible in terms of bringing home the history in front of you. And it was wonderful to watch them not only walk the cliffs, walk the American cemetery, buy books in the gift store. It's just so exciting to watch them discover the world and discover history.
I think it's an amazing opportunity for students. And I know sometimes people feel like it's a little costly, but to take
Not to go there.
for what you're doing, it's not. And this may be the only opportunity that the student gets to do this, because for a parent to take the student, obviously it's at least twice as much money, or a family to go. People can't afford that. And at least the child gets to go experience this. What I think is a reasonable price. I think it's fantastic. You're definitely experienced in this. You've done it for many years. You've been coming for
A few.
yeah.
We do fundraising also on an individual basis, and whatever the kids raise goes to their trip. And the school, actually, we don't ask the school for money, it's the kids, their parents, their summer jobs, their fundraising activities.
And we had many conversations in the past when we knew times were tough, and we would put a sign-out list, and it was amazing how many parents supported, because there's obviously a number that we have to have in order to take the trip to make it worthwhile, and we've been able to do that. And
How many students are signed up for this trip this year?
Well, we don't have them registered completely yet because we need your approval, but we have between 12 and 15 right now, and that figure sometimes grows, sometimes it shrinks, but usually it grows.
And what's your chaperone ratio?
It's 1 to 10, although there's an initial 2, and then after that, it's usually 1 to 10, although I'll tell you that on every trip I've taken for this school, we have more. We wound up usually with, our biggest trip was 22, and we had 4 chaperones for that.
Well, I would like to make a motion to approve the Branford High School field trip to England and France from April 3rd, 2015 through April 11th, 2015 as submitted.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Chairman Paternoster,
Yes.
Vice Chair Anafrio,
Yes.
Secretary O'Rourke,
Yes.
Philip Delmeyer,
Yes.
David McMahon,
Yes.
Deborah Prunier.
Yes.
thank you.
We do have a trip leaving tomorrow to Italy that Marie D'Alessio is running, so it's...
Is that tomorrow?
Yeah, they leave tomorrow.
Do you know how many are on that trip?
15, I think.
15?
15 or 17.
Wow. And
And
how long is that, 10 days?
I believe it's 8. So she's going with Miss McGrath is chaperoning, and Miss Trevisano is also chaperoning.
Wow.
And I think a mom is going too as well. So.
Nice.
wonderful.
Sounds great.
Boy, after hearing that, I don't know if I
Yeah, I
want to
know.
introduce the common calendar. It just doesn't have the same flair and flavor, but as you probably heard, we've talked about the charge to develop the common calendar. We worked through our ACES to share calendars with probably 20 school districts and come up with ideas, and Don did a lot of legwork on pieces and parts that would affect the bargaining units and how we align our vacation weeks. Obviously, many districts celebrate different days, and it could be for any reason, like Durham has school off for their fair. The school system shuts down, so trying to align and do this by time. It was not mandated for next year, so we opted to continue with our calendar as is, and then we will, obviously, it's mandated for 16 and 17, and we'll address that as we move forward. And Don, any highlights that you want to speak to, changes, or we were very similar with what ACES was doing anyway.
You know, I think one of the key things that the committee recommended, well, they recommended a couple things. One, they're actually they're recommending delaying mandated compliance for 1 more year, and also allows districts to request a waiver for 17-18 in the event that there's any collective bargaining issues. So that's one recommendation they're making. And they're also making a recommendation to have 5 discretionary days, and that would be for traditional observances, for facility things such as construction or student testing. So if those 5 days go through, then then we're in pretty good shape. I mean, for example, one difference with us is they've recommended starting the students on the Wednesday before Labor Day. We typically have 3 professional development days and start the students on Thursday. So for us to go to Wednesday, we've either got to shorten our preschool professional development schedule, require the teachers to come back the Friday before. So, those are things that don't necessarily line up all that well, and we're not the only people in that situation. So I think that's why they've come up with these 5 discretionary days. Another thing they're looking to do is align 2 professional development days. One is the Tuesday before Labor Day, which would not be a problem for us. And the other is Election Day, which again is not a problem for us because we normally have that. So we're aligned on that piece. To me, the biggest question is February break, because the statute actually says no more than 3 school vacation periods, one of which is going to be during the summer, and 2 of which shall be 1 week school, not more than 2 of which shall be 1 week school vacation period. So I don't know whether our February break is going to fit into this pattern, or whether we'll actually be effectively forced to go with a shortened February break. That's where those 5 days may or may not come in. And of course, those 5 days haven't been approved yet by the State Board of Ed, so there's still some work to be done on this.
Thank you.
Any questions? Obviously, we'll be status quo for next year. We'll address it. Okay, just a quick update on the Jerome Harrison principal search. Tomorrow is the closing date for applicants. We've been doing it obviously online, and to date, I didn't check today, but we were over 40 applicants.
Yeah, we're in the neighborhood of 50. Some of them haven't submitted yet, so there's a little, you can put your application in but not actually submit it. So some people either have not completed it yet, and so they haven't submitted it, or maybe some of them will elect not to. So we're going to be somewhere in the 40s.
Thank you.
Any questions on that? Process, we'll get started when we close, obviously, the date. There's a series of steps that we'll go through. We will do an inventory of the entire staff at Jerome, using our computer system, SurveyMonkey, opportunity for all employees to weigh in on what their vision is for the next year at Jerome. So we're excited to involve the entire staff.
Do you have a search committee?
We do.
Have you had a number of in-house applicants?
Well, I wouldn't say a number, but we have probably 3 or 4 in-house.
No, what does the search committee consist of? Who does the search committee consist of? Or interview committee, I should say.
Parents, teachers.
1 parent, 4 teachers, and several administrators.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. Graduation date, I was skeptical to announce it this evening based upon the weather that we've had and knowing that we have to get through people. But it's that time of the year, and the official date is June 23rd, Monday evening. And I'll need you to approve that date in order to move this class along.
I'll make a motion to establish the 2014 North Branford High School graduation date for Monday, June 23rd, 2014. I'll second that.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Chairman Paternoster?
Yes.
Vice Chair Anafrio?
Yes.
Secretary O'Rourke?
Yes.
Philip Delmeyer?
Yes.
David McMahon?
Yes.
Deborah Premier?
Yes.
Thank you. And the state of the schools, you received a copy of that this evening. That represents the hard work of the administrative team. And obviously, Ms. Wooten gathering the data and putting that together. It's really a comprehensive look at what we're doing in the district. So I encourage you to spend some time with it. I'm quite sure you'll be impressed. And I want to thank Liz and Anastasia, for her efforts in putting it together. It's printed in-house. She does all of the work, prints and runs that in-house, and does an exceptional job. And we're certainly thankful for her efforts. Okay?
We haven't had a chance to read it, so.
No, I'm not expecting any corrections. Okay. Non-renewals.
That's something.
Right, which we're going to go into executive session.
Okay, thank you. Committee reports, negotiations.
Just a quick update, the arbitration hearing hearing with the Federation of Teachers was March 31st, and the decision is due on April 20th, and I believe they scheduled their executive session for April 17th, if I recall. So that's on track, and we will have a decision at that point in time. The other thing I should mention on the negotiations is I had a ground rules meeting with the 4 ASME units this past week, so we're going to start moving on those as well.
And those are who?
CAP,
Yeah.
custodians, nurses, and secretaries.
It'd be good to get, what did we do, a 1-year contract with the secretaries last time, so we could get everybody on
Right,
the
we
same
did,
rotation?
we actually did that intentionally to align the contract cycles,
Okay.
because if we're going to go through the fun of 3, we might as well go through the fun of 4.
Because I was going to say, we just did the secretaries.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Don. Budget and operations?
I mean, basically, the budget looks the same in terms of variances as it did last month. There's nothing really significant that's changed. We talked about a couple of other minor items in the meeting. The one thing that may be noteworthy is now that the council has acted on our budget request, the administrative team met and discussed briefly yesterday, but we'll meet again in 2 weeks to discuss in more detail some of the possible areas where reductions can be made.
And I don't think, they didn't have the actual final vote.
No, they didn't.
They didn't have the actual final vote till next week, but it looks like we're going to get some of those capital projects maybe on the rotation list, which will be really, really nice.
Yeah.
That'll be really nice. Do some of those ones at the high school and.
Yeah, they're predominantly all high school, so I know they're excited for those upgrades, and we're thankful.
Bathrooms especially.
Okay, moving on. Curriculum instruction and strategic planning.
Well, we had a curriculum meeting earlier tonight, and as usual, it's very enjoyable. Technically, not even on that committee, but I enjoy going. We had 2 wonderful teachers from the high school, from the English department, giving a presentation to us, Ms. Bird and Mr. Ford. And they're making some changes to the curriculum a little bit and some of the classes. And it's great to see. I mean, having kids that have graduated already and having been through, it's nice to see them being tweaked a little bit, going in the right direction. I think they're making some really good changes. And although I don't want to claim to know a lot about the Common Core, I'm trying to learn, but it sounds like we're going full speed ahead for really making the kids successful.
You know, they've done a wonderful job. As Beck was mentioned earlier, in our juniors' participation rate has been exceptional. And I commended the administrative team, I think, for preparing over the last 2 to 3 years and doing their homework and the professional development that we have accomplished to this point, and as well as the technology and our ability to, implement hundreds of students assessing at different points during the academic day, while not disrupting the flow of your day while the other 300 students are in classes. And it's no easy task. Many towns are struggling with some of that and other things that have gotten in the way. So I'm really pleased with where we're at and how that's gone. So it's kudos to the administrators.
Just a quick thank you to Stephanie and Rob Ford for attending this evening and providing the committee with some information. In addition, we did talk quickly about the chronic absentee report that was released from the state in March. Upon immediate inspection, we realized that there was some erroneous data in the report. What we've done is determine that there was an error in collection as well as reporting. We're in the process of correcting that information as well as providing a remedy to the procedure for collecting attendance now and the Power School reporting of that information. We will report that to the state and ensure that the June collection for the 13-14 school year is accurate, just in case anyone sees that or has a question about it.
Thank you. Okay, move on to pension. No meeting? Okay. Policy.
We did not have a meeting, but we just had one that we are looking to bring forward. Right here, Exhibit F.
F is what, first read?
Correct.
Yes.
And it's concerning policy P4120, smoke-free environment.
This involves language of the electronic smoking systems that are so popular now and unfortunately have made their way into our middle schools and high schools. And it's something that we wanted to expand and extend our policy to address because we have seen instances of kids being in possession of those devices. So it's just yet another thing that trickles down and unfortunately can be very disruptive to the process.
Cases?
I had a work conflict this morning, but we did a really good job of going over the calendar, which is really focused on the past couple of days.
Thank you. Building committee.
Ed's turn to give the report. I don't have
Ed, Galvin? Oh. Okay. Communication.
We didn't meet.
No, we canceled.
Oh.
No, we canceled the communication meeting because there were so many budget workshops and budget meetings with the town hall and the board meetings tonight, so we canceled.
Yeah. New business?
Well, we're not going to
Okay.
skip that one.
Okay, we're gonna skip, we're gonna go to the board.
That's your meeting.
All right, the first thing I'd like to say is I went to Oliver last Friday night. That was great. He did, Mr. Steffler, Carter, I know you probably had a lot to do with it too, but it was an excellent performance. I had a really good time there. After every act, everything, it was very enjoyable. Thank you for inviting us. So it was a very good night out. My next topic is, we just got done with budget season, and I personally want to thank Don, Superintendent Schoolmaker, and every board member up here, because you guys put a lot of hard work. You all went to a lot of meetings, and as board chair, I have to say that I'm very proud of being a board chair to you guys, because during the whole process, you all acted very graciously, honestly, openly, but yet we were professional about what we said and did. And I think the budget itself, the season, was a good one, to be honest with you. I didn't see a lot of attacking on either side, to be honest with you. I thought it was a little more positive in the back. But I think this board in general, we could not ask for a better board. We're very diverse in ages and everything else. But I thought you guys really handled yourself very well. I just want to, there was no attacks, there was no nothing, so I just want to thank you for all your support during the budget season. Don, Mr. Schoolmaker, I thought you did a very good job, and I just like to thank everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, the administrators too, yeah. Thanks for reminding me.
For all their time and effort.
No, they don't have lives. I'm done with good of the board. That was easy. No, anybody else want something?
You take the words right out of our mouths. After you, nobody wants to go.
Oh, they said you guys went first.
Well, you know, I just have a quick question. I'm going to put you on the spot there. But how many children participate in the 5th grade band? Do you know? Roughly?
109, I believe, this year
Wow.
in the 5th grade band.
They have a weekly
Could be a
full
full
band. Yeah. Well, she can probably hear them from her office.
No, I was there this morning as they were rehearsing.
And I was there last week. It is impressive to see. And I know that it's open to the parents, but I'm assuming that any board member can attend to. I'm going to open it up to everybody now.
Absolutely.
I can get you the schedule of when these full band rehearsals are. It's amazing to hear these kids, and sometimes they're practicing these pieces for the first time ever, and then sometimes they're practicing it for the first time as a group. And it really is impressive to think that they're 10 and 11-year-old kids. They've only played these instruments for a couple of months, and it's really, it's quite impressive.
That's good. That's why hopefully we can open it up to fourth graders.
Really, 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 really needs it.
We get it. Point taken.
No, thank you for recognizing that. You obviously know the challenges when you stand in front of a classroom with 20 to 25 students at all different levels. And then when you stand in front of 109 that are armed with instruments.
Big trombones.
You really
I like that, armed with instruments.
appreciate what they do. And then as you see, as we had the Spectrum concert, when you look at our youngsters in the choral and instrumental departments over time, and you have the high school students perform the last pieces with the little ones looking up to them. I mean, that was priceless to see the growth and how fortunate we are to have the arts program that we do here in North Branford. So that's a plug for the arts and certainly support for all of our students who are involved, K-12.
Well, that was that, right? Going back to the report, I had something to say. Again, I just have to say, in my mind, personally, was very disappointed in seeing the town residents come out and support or not support the education system. When we were there, at my guess, I think we had 3 parents. 5? Teresa, you were there, thank you for coming. We had 5 parents that made their voice heard at the budget hearing. To me, that was very disappointing because it's your kids, and that was your time to speak. And I always say, you know, that's your time to speak, but we had 5 parents there that represented, what, 2,000 kids roughly? 5 parents out of roughly 2,000 kids came out that night to either vote, you know, to support what we were proposing or not supporting it. But to me, I really was very disappointed. You know, I'll praise everybody when they do it, but also, as a town resident and as a board chair, I was very disappointed to see that we had 5 parents there. They had more fire department people there than we had parents. And if we want to support our education system, our administrators and everybody else, we need the support of the town at the right time. We don't need it to Dear Frank, we don't need it on Facebook, we don't need it anywhere else. But there, we needed to pack the auditorium or the cafeteria. They moved it from town hall to the cafeteria, and to be honest with you, we kept fit in town hall because the turnout was, in my mind, terrible. And I just have to say that I was very disappointed in the parents of this town not supporting the Board of Education that night. Now we'll move on to visitors and press. Mr. Potter, go to the first meeting, your visitors and press.
First of all, I want to thank the town council, all one of you tonight, and you guys. I mean, the other night, and I'm probably hardened to the past, you know, I didn't know what to expect going to that meeting. My wife has been laid up with surgery, so I wasn't able to get to a lot of the other meetings, so I did make it to the Board of Ed budget night. Glad to see the tides are turning. I mean, I want to compliment both Al Rose and Councilor Fornan for, you know, and I needed the shaking up. Like I said, the big picture is not North Branford. It's this mess starts, this economic mess starts right in Washington, D.C., comes right up 95 to the Capitol in Hartford, and then when it trickles down to North Branford, the town council and the Board of Ed are left with a mess and not many resources to clean up this mess. But I've seen progression in the right way that I think you guys can work well together. It's still a great town as much as they try to beat us up financially. I mean, we have town spirit, you know. You got Boston strong, or we got North Branford strong. And I think people are just, you know, and like Al hit home when he said, my 1-year-old grandson already has a price on his head of debt that he's going to have to carry. And the poor kid's only a year old and he doesn't even know what this is. Because that's how bad the economy's going to continue to be unless there's really a major turnaround. And so that helps, it doesn't help, but it kind of puts you in a different mindset that, yes, it's bad. But when it's bad, you work within the bad and make it look good and work it so it's at least acceptable. And I think you guys will be able to do it. I think the town council's going to, you know, they would love to open the coffee jar up and keep taking all the money out. They don't have the money. And we don't have the industry to give them the money to do what everybody wants to do. And economic development is a big thing in this town, but and this is going to be a repeat of my repeat, but the L shape of the town with Tutucket Mountain, the lack of 95 or 91 going through our town, the lack of a rail system going through our town. You look at North Haven, Wallingford, Meriden, all the way up that way, and you look at Branford, Madison, Clinton going that way, they have all that. And so it's hard to get a business to come to our town. Where do they want to, why would they come to our town when we have all these big things they need at other places? So again, it falls on the homeowner, but yet somehow it will work. And so I'm looking forward to next year in a positive manner, knowing that we're going to have a negative balance. I guess that's the easiest way to say it.
Thank you, Mr. Ball. Any other visitors or press comments?
I'll make a motion to adjourn to executive session as per section 1-225 of the Connecticut General Statutes, as permitted by section 1-200, 6A of the Connecticut General Statutes, to discuss agenda item VIII 8I, non-renewals.
Second.
Thank you. Sorry. Everybody's
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call.
All right, we have some motions to make here. I'd like to make a motion to approve the non-renewal of the one-year contract of employment of Kara Wallman, school psychologist at Jerome Harrison Elementary School for the 2014-2015 school year, and to direct the superintendent of schools to advise such person in writing of this action.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. I'd like to make a motion to approve the non-renewal of the one-year contract of employment of Tricia Ritchie, grade 1 teacher at Jerome Harrison Elementary School for the 2014-2015 school year, and to direct the superintendent of schools to advise such person in writing of this action.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. I'd like to make a motion to approve the non-renewal of the one-year contract of employment of Audrey Jankowitz, grade 7 language arts teacher at North Branford Intermediate School for the 2014-2015 school year, and to direct the superintendent of schools to advise such person in writing of this action.
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a quick question. It says grade 7, but she teaches both. Does that matter? She's a 7/8 teacher?
I think your primary
Okay.
assignment is grade 7 on her contract.
Okay. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye. I'd like to make a motion to approve the non-renewal of the one-year contract of employment of Chelsea Dodds, English teacher at North Branford High School for the 2014-2015 school year, and to direct the superintendent of schools to advise such person in writing of this action.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
I'll make a motion to approve the non-renewal of the one-year contract of employment of Stacy Parent, long-term substitute at Totucket Valley Elementary School for the 2014-2015 school year, and to direct the superintendent of schools to advise such person in writing of this action.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the non-renewal of the one-year contract of employment of Adam Rosati, long-term substitute at Totucket Valley Elementary School for the 2014-2015 school year, and to direct the superintendent of schools to advise such person in writing of this action.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the non-renewal of the one-year contract of employment of Melissa Weil, long-term substitute at Totucket Valley Elementary School for the 2014-2015 school year, and to direct the superintendent of schools to advise such person in writing of this action.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the non-renewal of the one-year contract of employment of Chris Schneider, long-term substitute at North Branford Intermediate School for the 2014-2015 school year, and to direct the superintendent of schools to advise such person in writing of this action.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to adjourn.
The next regular board meeting is Thursday, May 15th,
Bless you.
2014.
Bless you. Okay, now can I make a motion to
You can
adjourn?
make whatever you like.
Anybody-
All in favor?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.